Hi everybody. This is my informative speech for session 3. My audience today is my little sister Ramsey, and today I will be speaking to her about Project Save 22. Now, when it comes to veteran suicide awareness, it's a subject not most people talk about because of how personal it can be to those around the veterans and for the veterans. Uh, what it is and what it means is it comes from the fact that 22 veterans are turning to suicide every day as a relief of their PTSD. It is an Endurance for Veterans is the organization that is passionate about providing veterans the opportunity to use physical fitness as a release for that. I myself, my little sister included, have a cousin who suffers through PTSD. He is a Marine, and he came back with PTSD, and his release wasn't so the Project 22. It was art, and my my goal here is to make sure that you guys know that this is a really serious situation that we as Americans must take into thought, because it is our men and women of our armed forces. They went over there, they fought for us, they laid their lives down for us, and they came back not the way they left. They came back with a different mindset. They came back with a different way of life. They have to reintegrate into the common world when they come back, and that is a big step for them. And sometimes it causes a lot of problems. It causes a lot of suicidal thoughts because they don't know how. And Project Save 22 helps them do that. Their goal is to attempt to bring awareness of this epidemic and encourage an active lifestyle for our veterans. It has had a big impact on suicide awareness for our veterans. PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, is a highly intrusive thought or extreme guilt about an act of war committed during war. Also, these things overpower them to the point where their mental and emotional faculties can't function correctly. It is a very real problem, and it can be dangerous if it is not taken care of. And we, as Americans, have a duty to take care of our veterans. We have a duty to make sure that they are getting the correct care that they deserve. The veteran, the VA, the Department of Veteran Affairs, encourages the veterans to come back and to get help if they have PTSD. But not most of our veterans don't do it because they don't know how to do it. Some just come back and then they go and they suffer. It's a real problem. In 2014, the latest year available, more than 7,400 veterans took their own life. That's an accounting of 18% of all suicides in America. 18%. That is very high. Veterans make up less than 9% of our U.S. population. And about 70% of those veterans who took their lives were not of regular uses of the VA services given to them when they came back. Project Save 22 allows them to use those services, allows them to use other things, like my cousin, art. And through this, it is exercise, physical exercise. The new study that has come out includes more than 50 million new veteran records from 1979 to 2014. Researchers have found that the risk of suicide for veterans is 21% higher than when compared to civilians. From 2001 to 2014, the civilian suicide rate rose about 23.3%. The rate among suicide veterans jumped to more than 32%. As you can see, we have a situation that we need to take care of. We need to be there for our veterans. The problem is particularly worrisome about the group of people that are doing this. The group of female veterans, actually, it's female veterans in general, who saw their suicide rates rise more than 85% over that time, compared to about 40% over civilian women. 65% of all veteran suicides in 2014 were for individuals 50 years or older. Now, most of the people that do take their lives that I've heard of, now this is just me saying, but they come back from Vietnam. Vietnam was one of the worst and most bloodiest wars America has ever fought in. And most of the veterans I know are from the Vietnam era. The stories I've heard, they're heart-wrenching, because you wish that you could do something for them, but in reality, they have to do it for themselves. But it is our duty to go to them, to care for them, to talk to them. Most of the time, all they want to do is talk, to vent, to get it out of their system, to get it out of their mind. And being their friend, being their relative that we need to be, will help them get away from this. Encouraging them to go to the VA, encouraging them to use the services given to them. So that way they won't take their own life. That way they won't go to drugs or alcohol like most do. The VA has hired 5,300 mental health providers and support personnel upgrade in Veteran Crisis Line in response to the problem. It has an elevated profile of its suicide prevention office with the department. They have launched new partnerships with community health providers and offer counseling to veterans. As one can see, veteran suicide is a real problem, and we as Americans have a responsibility to our heroes. We must be aware and know the signs that one is suicidal. We must begin to love and care for them, and always reassure them how thankful we are for them and for us to have them here with us. Don't let them say otherwise, because that could be one less veteran suicide. One less son or daughter or husband and wife, mom and dad saved. One last family member torn by the effects of war. I thank you, and have a good night.